Welcome to Iranian of the Day, the podcast that celebrates the incredible achievements of Iranians worldwide. Hosted by Yashar Zisani.
My strengths are as a trial lawyer. I usually answer legal questions like 30 seconds or less, like a walking encyclopedia when it comes to legal issues. It's a really fun, righteous path, and I can't imagine doing anything else. I felt alive when I was in a courtroom. This was something that really just lit me up. But in retrospect, I was always someone that gravitated towards the underdog. I was always someone that saw the good in good people, that wanted to protect those that were bullied. I'm in it to win it. It's a common theme with most Iranians is the hustle. We call it the Persian hustle. There is no off. Really, my biggest goal is to take my talent and make the biggest and most positive impact I can and help as many humans as I possibly can. But the way I look at the universe, someone small on the right side of law and justice can crush the biggest opponent. I'm just a student of life, always willing to understand that there's different ways of looking at things. Well, every great leader, every great powerful human that you've ever read about or hear about has always had at least one or more catastrophic failures. Who you be is not dictated by your past failure or success. Who you be is dictated by who you be right now. It's not about being the best trial lawyer, it's about being the best human. All you're seeing and hearing is a reflection of the good you see in the universe. The best trial lawyers are the kindest, most generous, loving, egoless human being. I love creating music. If I have free time, my joy is making music, working with other artists, learning how to do Afro, house, techno, and executing on it. Mine is to light as many candles as I possibly can. Literally, we're a speck of dust on a planet spinning in a billion cosmos. If you're going to be here, at least enjoy and love your life and make a difference and help others.
Arash, first of all, thank you so much for accepting our invite and joining our podcast. I watched 53 short videos on your Facebook page and 30 videos of the 3 pages of Google, not only to prepare for this interview, but just to learn from you. You've been super inspiring. You're just a nice, cool, lovely, and genuine person. And I'm so excited to have you featured on our podcast.
Thank you for having me. And as I tell everybody, all you're seeing and hearing is a reflection of the good you see in the universe, period.
Thank you. So, Arash, can you please tell us about yourself, your life, and what led you to pursue a career in law? When did you know you were born for this?
I actually had no idea I wanted to be a lawyer, even as I started feeling a passion for helping the underdog, that I kind of innately understood that I was born to do this. I felt alive when I was in a courtroom. Just everything clicked in terms of, not being engaged as a younger person, not really being passionate about many things. This was something that really just lit me up. And it's not like you say to yourself, oh, this is why I did it. But in retrospect, I was always someone that gravitated towards the underdog. I was always someone that saw the good in good people, that wanted to protect those that were bullied, that did not like people that abused their power or people that thought they were better than anyone. And all of those inclinations and instincts, really, I was lucky enough to monetize it and enter into a world where I can really make a difference as a trial lawyer.
And then who or what had the greatest impact on your success?
Obviously, my parents. I mean, grew up with 2 immigrant parents who came here West in the 60s with nothing, who had twins, started with nothing, and really just taught us the importance of hard work, of respecting, loving everybody, the Iranian culture, of just being proud of who you are, but at the same time embracing the beauty and differences of others. My parents, obviously.
Arash, you had mentioned you failed a bar exam the first time, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to you in life. Why is that?
Well, every great leader, every great powerful human that you've ever read about or hear about has always had at least one or more catastrophic failures. And those are failures that define what isn't working for you in a way that most people give up or most people don't learn a lesson from. But some people use opportunities as ways to correct your course and to really just open your eyes to your power and when your power doesn't work at its best. And so failing the bar really taught me that I had to prepare that I couldn't wing things. That I mean, on a side note, my handwriting was terrible. I had to improve my handwriting because with computers, but really that I had to prepare, and that even though I am bright and quick on my feet and articulate, nothing substitutes being prepared.
I know you mentioned that you were in debt of over $150,000. You worked through law school. You worked over 60 hours a week, 6 days, 7 days a week. Can you tell us about your journey and how you became so successful?
Well, it's a common theme with most Iranians is the hustle. We call it the Persian hustle. It's just like there is no off. It's 100 miles an hour. Really just pursuing the American dream. It's instilled in you that you believe in yourself. There's a special pride. There's a special sort of feeling about who you are culturally, even if you're Jewish, Muslim, Baha'i, rich, poor. It's just innate in the Persian culture to really believe in yourself, to have this sense of pride. And so that's what drove me. It's just this, I knew that I was destined to help as many people as I possibly could. I knew that I was given a special talent that I couldn't waste on pursuing things that didn't matter. And that really my biggest goal is to take my talent and make the biggest and most positive impact I can and help as many humans as I possibly can.
As a child, did you always win the arguments with your siblings and family?
No, I actually not. I avoid conflict outside of law. There's so much conflict in law that I don't want conflict outside of law. I'm not a micro transactional human. I'm a macro human. I don't get involved in microaggressions or transactions if I can avoid it, because it takes your eye off the ball and the bigger purpose of life. So I try my best not to get into arguments, to try and not get defensive, to be open to feedback and commentary, and to see other people's point of view. Now, if I believe something is morally wrong or ethically wrong, I will not in any way compromise that. So racism, people who focus on acquiring wealth as a means of separating or distinguishing yourself as being better than others, those are topics that I will not tolerate, and I will not lose that argument. But other than that, I don't really engage in arguments outside of law because it's just not necessary and productive.
Arash, you started your own law firm, and then you started a nonprofit. There's a Light Foundation, and you own 2 record labels, and you still don't think of yourself as a great businessman, but mostly a great trial attorney. Can you explain that?
Sure. So you have to understand what your strengths are. So my strengths are as a trial lawyer. I'm not a good businessman in a sense of which case we should accept, fee arrangements, how much money we should spend or not spend. I mean, we have cases we spent $3 million on. I don't really care. To me, it's meaningless. I'm in it to win it, and you got to pay money to make money. And so as a business person, I'm not the best, but that's the important thing is understanding your strengths, your weaknesses, learning how to delegate, learning how to partner up with individuals that have strengths in areas that you don't, where you complement each other. And so the business side I was never good at. Thank God we are very fortunate in the area of law that we work in. I equate it with like being in a record business. Record labels would do 20 releases of albums, and then if one made it, they would pay for the other 20. We're in an even better model. I am so selective with the cases that I take that we don't lose generally, and if we do, it's 1 out of 50. So for us, every case is selected carefully so that the business part of it doesn't really come into play, other than we have to wait the long run and really wait out the defendant, try and get the best possible result. As to the record labels, I have a passion for music. We're not really making any money yet, but that's not the point. The money that we're making is really not in cash in. It's in just helping people get their music out into the universe, creating more music for the universe, creating more joy, more love. Those are the metrics for me in terms of what is successful. And so even if we're temporarily losing money, I don't really care because the value of it is greater than the monetary.
Absolutely. Arash, what inspired you to focus on PI, personal injury, and defending the underprivileged?
Well, I mean, I can't think of anyone who needs our help more than someone who's been catastrophically injured by somebody else's wrongdoing. And in many times, the somebody else is a big corporation who thinks it's above the law, who's selling an unsafe product, engaging in unsafe practices, who has the resources that at first blush could crush someone small. But the way I look at the universe, someone small on the right side of law and justice can crush the biggest opponent. And so that's where my talents and skills and passions and love affair for being a trial lawyer come to play, is that I level the playing field. And everyone wants to believe that there's a group of lawyers or humans who can take on even the biggest defendants and get justice. And we're in that belief system. We embody it, we represent it, we live it, we breathe it, we execute on it.
Arash, what is a common misconception people have about trial attorneys?
It's a common misconception that trial lawyers are assholes or jerks. It's the opposite. The best trial lawyers are the kindest, most generous, loving, egoless human beings. Now, obviously, to be a trial lawyer, it's like if you're Kanye or you're Chris Rock or you're the president, you have to have a certain confidence level. You have to have a certain ego base to get up and do what you do. Kanye is a poor example these days. But Chris Rock has a joke about the ego you need to do what you do. And so we all have powerful egos. We're all very confident. But at the end of the day, we're just kind to loving people. We share, we celebrate the success of others, including conceptually our competitors. We're in it to help. We're not in it for the money. We're not in it necessarily for personal notoriety. We're in it to really help others on a large scale. And in personal injury, you can make a huge difference helping a human being whose life is turned upside down, has no hope, no money, no job. Their wife is going to leave them. They have an amputation or they're paralyzed. They're lost in the medical system. They have a brain injury, and you're their only hope. And it's a 3-year run battle against some big corporation. It's like, hell yeah. I'm like, I was born to do this. I love it. It's the best, funnest, coolest job in the universe. It's not even a job. It's like play for me. So, for me, you just matched my desire and appetite for helping. And, the cool thing about trial personal injury law and what we do is that we get to learn so many interesting topics, from neurosurgery to aneurysms to how airbags work to how products should be designed safe, for engineering concepts, medical concepts, human factors concepts. There's never a day that you're not learning something fascinating about how the world works and getting to be a part of a process where you hold companies and big defendants accountable for doing things wrong, putting profits over safety, not thinking things through, focusing on, trying to make money, not protecting the end consumer that they're selling their product to, which is the way it should be. And so it's a really fun, righteous path. And I can't imagine doing anything else. People are like, hey, why don't you just DJ more? And like, are you going to ever quit being a trial lawyer? I'm like, no, you have to drag me out of a courtroom. I'm going to be trying cases until I'm 80 plus for sure.
I read a lot of comments that they said that you overly prepare, you're fully prepared when you enter, and you're one of the best lawyers out there. That's excellent.
Listen, I'm very fortunate that I have a amazing team of lawyers that work with me, that work up cases better than anyone, and really make it easy for me to step in a courtroom, having a really well done, prepared, everyone cross-examined, all the points made case, where I really just then have to execute and get the ball over the finish line.
Teamwork, absolutely. What has been the biggest legal challenge of your career, and how did you overcome it?
Let me give you a more abstract one. Patience. We're in a world where you see people making a lot of money quickly through ridiculous things. I mean, it's all false portrayals of wealth accumulated in a quick way through easy ways. It wasn't that bad when I was younger, but it was, when you're younger, and I'll tell most lawyers today, is just be patient. Don't be so hard. Don't be so quick to make a lot of money. Don't be so quick to spend it on dumb things. Reinvest your money in your practice, in hiring staff, delegating, and creating a work-life balance. Because at some point, you're going to need to stop working 100 miles an hour, 60 hours a week, 80 hours a week, because that family that I assume you want, or that outside relationship that I assume you want to cultivate, is going to suffer. One has to suffer. You can't do both. 100 miles an hour work schedule, kicking ass as a lawyer, and have a successful family life. And so if you want the balance, you need to be proactive and think ahead and go, look, if I make a lot of money on this case, rather than buying that unnecessary car, handbag, or whatever, use it to reinvest in your firm so that you can hire support staff, so that you can grow, have a vision as to your growth. Some lawyers want 100 people in their law firm. Some people want only 10 people. Have an understanding of what it is you want and really delegate those areas that you're not good at. Forgive people for their humanity. Don't be so hard on everyone. Don't be so hard on yourself. And then prioritize your mental health and whatever is important to you in terms of physical and mental health. Make sure that you do those, because you're of no value in the courtroom if you're not healthy, period. You could be the best trial lawyer in the world, but if you're not healthy and treating yourself with love and respect, yourself, you're going to burn out.
Arash, how do you handle stress during the trial?
I don't get stressed during trial. I mean, that's the beauty of the law, of the lawyers that I work with. They make it so easy for me that I don't get stressed during trial. And then I just don't get stressed. Again, I told you, I'm a macro human being. I do not get triggered by micro events. You're not going to be a great trial lawyer if everything stresses you out. I just don't care, because I understand it's not productive to get stressed out. It's not real. We can have this esoteric conversation later, but it's definitely not consistent with getting the best possible result for your client if you get stressed out. They don't hire someone to be stressed out.
Correct. What are your metrics of success? You mentioned it's not money, and you also had mentioned as you get older, material things are meaningless, brings no joy, and the more you're attached to it, the more you suffer. So what is it?
You need to kind of refine that through time. What is it? For me, it's how many people can I positively impact, period. So literally I want to do $1 billion cases to make large fees to then donate more to those who are underprivileged, who could use that help, who could use the monetary support, who could use the moral support so that they can get to the next level in their life. Because I think there's a lot of untapped talent all around us that doesn't know they could be the next whatever transformational human that changes the way we relate to this universe and to each other. They don't know it. No one's telling them it. It's not possible financially. It's not possible, in any way, but they're there. And so I want to really focus on identifying those humans who everyone sees could be the next superstar human that makes a big impact, and get behind them and help them. And so for me, the metric of success is how many people can I help and how much of an impact can I make helping others. Pay it forward times the billion.
The Persian Robin Hood. Arash, what's your secret or competitive advantage of being so successful at your work?
We are meticulous about everything we do. We actually care. We are professionals. We love what we do. There's no time clock. No one is required to work X hours at Y hours. We just do what needs to be done because we want to win and further the cause. And so what separates us is a natural, love affair for what we do, real talent, and then also, no micromanaging. A lot of attorneys work at firms where people yell at each other, or they rude or whatever. I don't yell at anyone. I really don't care. If people make mistakes, it's part of the human condition. I look at that as an opportunity, because maybe then the defense thinks they got one over on us and they're going to get cocky during trial. And I'm like, look, I don't really care. Mistakes, unless it's a catastrophic mistake, which we won't make because we're so organized and professional. I welcome the human touch. So for our secret weapon is we're humans. We're really just all good humans. I've said this so many times. It's not about being the best trial lawyer. It's about being the best human. If you're the best human, you will transcend what area or profession or work you do and be the best at it, period.
Arash, you're also active as a DJ and music producer. What drew you to composing music and DJing, and what genre do you prefer to perform?
So I just love music, and during COVID, really hunkered down and taught myself music production. And it's just one of those things. It's like some people like playing video games, which I don't understand. I love creating music. If I have free time, my joy is making music, working with other artists, learning how to do Afro, house, techno, and executing on it. So my favorite genres are house and techno, but I'm making all genres of music now, from alt to folk to singer-songwriter. I just love music. So it's like, what lights you up outside of the courtroom? Music, helping others. And so I'm going to do everything that lights me up so that when I'm in the courtroom, you can see that glow and shine and love affair I have with life, which you should be able to see.
And I heard you want to play at Coachella one day.
One day, yeah, I stopped DJing as much as I did before because it wasn't bringing me joy. And I want to focus, and my trial schedule's crazy. It's just really busy. And I want to focus more on making music. But the one gig I would do if I get it, which I will, is Coachella. And not the big stage. I want to do Yuma Tent. If anyone knows Coachella, I just want to do Yuma Tent. Dark techno tent, not a big stage.
Arash, what do you do for personal development and outside of work?
I constantly read audiobooks, listen to audiobooks and read. I go to seminars, Joe Dispenza, Sadhguru. I'm listening to other people talk about life, podcasts. I'm just a student of life, always willing to understand that there's different ways of looking at things. And I mean, I recently read a book, The Disappearance of the Universe, which is about Christianity. That's pretty fascinating. And about how we're all one collective consciousness and spirit, but that in the human construct, we separate into individuals. So I just learned a lot of fascinating stuff by listening and reading and keeping an open mind.
What's your favorite book or podcast?
Favorite book is Untethered Soul. So I've read that like 10 times. I highly recommend it to anybody. It's a book that's a very easy to understand amalgam of East and West philosophies and just very good examples of why none of this is real. We're humans programmed with this set of rules that once you understand the rules, you don't take it so seriously and you can kind of bypass the ordinary human experience and really generate a life that is of your own making and doing.
I actually bought the book and read it in a day. It was amazing. Thanks to you for suggesting it. I know you had mentioned yoga as a meditation on the mat. Why do you love and recommend yoga and meditation so much?
Well, I don't meditate. I don't have the patience to meditate, but yoga and meditation on the mat. It's very simple. In life, when you get stuck, most people hate discomfort and they retreat and there's no growth. Yoga teaches you that the minute you get in a position of discomfort, not only do you not retreat, but you stay in it, breathe. It's that simple, and you will grow. And you will be surprised by how flexible you are. And so these analogies between the physical body and the human mental experience it's the same. And so once you learn in yoga to stay in the pose, breathe, relax, don't fight it. A little bit of suffering and pain is okay. Then you take that into life experiences and you really have a better sort of understanding of how to react to things in life and how not to take things so seriously. I mean, when you're in yoga and they're like, relax your eyes, relax your eyelids, relax your fingers, relax your toes. And you're like, I didn't even understand that these things are stressed and not relaxed. But we walk around in a state of perpetual unrelaxed body, and every muscle is tense and you're making faces and noises, and these are all unnecessary when you understand that literally we're a speck of dust on a planet spinning in a billion cosmos, and it's all meaningless. None of this is real. If you're going to be here, at least enjoy and love your life and make a difference and help others. But to get stressed out and stuck and in the details that don't matter is it's unfortunate. And you forget, because it happens, you're humans. The human construct takes over, and 2 seconds later, this is real. 20 minutes later, this story is real. 50 minutes later, wow, this is even more real. It's never ending. You're inundated with sensory overload, trying to convince you this life experience is real. And your job is to transcend that and understand it isn't real, that you really do have the power to dictate whatever life you want.
If you could go back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self?
That's an interesting, I don't want to go back in time. I don't live in the past. I'm glad the past is over. Whether it was filled with love, sadness, joy, failure, success, I'm grateful for it all. What would I tell myself? None of this is real. The win isn't real. The loss isn't real. None of it's real.
How do you grow from 20 million, 60 million cases to 100 million to $1 billion cases?
We're not at $1 billion. We do have $100 million judgment that was paid. But how do you grow? You have a mindset. When I started as a trial lawyer, my practice consisted of $5,000 dog bite cases. But I always knew I wanted large value, 8-figure cases. I always had the mindset of not growing too much where I couldn't take the risks to take on the larger cases, not overworking myself. And so, we had like let's say 200 cases. My plan was always take to 100. Then I wanted 50 cases. And now we're 12 lawyers and we have about 30 cases. That's that. I don't want to overwork the lawyers. I don't want a lot of matters. I want all high value, big impact cases. And the next target is billion. And again, not a billion to prove how great I am, a billion to take the money and redistribute it in the way I believe is important, is to inspire and help those people who can make a bigger impact who otherwise wouldn't have that opportunity. That's what I want to do.
How do you take on very big corporations with so many attorneys and several millions of dollars to spend on a case?
Oh, it's very easy. You know, the larger the defendant, the more inefficient, ignorant, cocky, arrogant they are. And it's David versus Goliath. You know, the bigger doesn't mean better, doesn't mean stronger. In today's age, with technology, with smarts, with grit, passion, purpose, you can take on anyone and take them down. I mean, that's the beauty of our legal system, is that the legal system allows everyone to right any wrong from any size defendant. No one is above the law. Everyone's accountable.
Where does all this passion and drive stem from, Arash?
DNA sequencing, period. I was just born this way. Got to understand, some people jump high. Some people have no fear when they're at height. Some people can run fast. Some people can move their fingers and play guitar. Some people they're blind and they play piano. Some people are autistic and have neurodivergent issues, but they're the most amazing piano player and memorize things. We all have a special DNA sequence in us. Your job is to find out what it is and make the biggest impact. I have absolutely nothing to do with it. Arash, as a human being, it's literally my job is to respect it, cherish it, nourish it, and not screw it up.
What advice would you offer to young lawyers, and what qualities are essential for success in this profession? What are the do's and don'ts?
Well, be patient, as I said earlier. Actually care about your clients. Don't do it for the money. And it's a real job. There's so many people that cut corners and they do this as a way to make income, to spend, to create wealth that's artificial, to brag and show off to other people because someone told them when they were younger, visually or verbally, that, success is measured by how big your house is, how many cars you have, how many girlfriends and wives you have, and how much of a consumer you are. And at some point, you realize when you're miserable, alone, and generating a lot of hate and distrust amongst the universe, that joy does not come from getting, it comes from giving. And so my advice is really develop yourself as a human being outside the courtroom. Integrity is everything. Don't lie, don't cheat, in your personal aspects, in your business aspects, and especially with yourself. Have integrity. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you promise somebody you're going to help them. Do things for the right. Don't do everything for money. And then who cares what other people think about you? Don't do things because you want to show off or, impress that wounded 8-year-old kid on the playground that didn't get all the attention they deserve, because who cares? That wound is what makes you stronger and more powerful than anybody else. Stay weird.
Arash, how do you think technology and AI, artificial intelligence, will shape the future of the legal profession? I know you mentioned we want to limit artificial in anything we do.
Well, you just got to remember it's artificial, but you're a moron if you don't utilize AI in your practice, because it is a wonderful way of summarizing concepts that maybe you don't understand in simple terms so that you can explain them to a jury. It's a first step. It's a first rake of information that allows you to make a smaller pile so that you can digest it and then you can refine it and explain things to the jury. It also allows you to summarize documents, depositions in a way that, again, just is a first step in anything that you do, but it's a more efficient step than just opening up the World Wide Web, opening up 50 textbooks, trying to understand things, trying to explain things. It's just a much easier way to synthesize large volumes of data and really understand things in more logical approaches, because AI is logic. It's illogical at times and makes mistakes, and you have to understand that. But you really need to embrace AI for sure. It's going to replace. There's a lot of inefficiencies with all corporations, businesses, employers. It's going to make things a lot more efficient.
Correct. Arash, you're one of the pioneers of doing everything remotely for many years. What are the pros and cons of Zoom and online depositions?
So, I mean, I know there are a lot of people who are like, oh, no, I didn't be in the same room. As far as I'm concerned, and this is the way I look at it, a Zoom deposition generally is better than an in-person deposition. And here's why. A Zoom deposition, you are like 3 inches away from the person. They are not distracted by 10 people in the room. It's very intimate. I tend to get way more concessions and even have had witnesses cry on Zoom where I know if they were in an open room with 10 other strangers, talking, objecting, blah, blah, blah. I think Zoom is way more efficient. I think remote is way more efficient. It makes no sense. The pollution, the time, driving to court, waiting, it's just nonsense. And so again, there's a silver lining with COVID is that it forced our legal industry and a lot of industries to understand that coming to work may be inefficient, that if you could do things remotely effectively, you need to. And one of the best places is with trials, especially in trial with witnesses that are not in Los Angeles and they're in a different part of the state. If a court allows it, let them testify through Zoom. It's fine because this is getting information out. Sometimes at trial, you do want to witness live and in person, right? It might be a little better for the jury to get a sense of that. So I prefer typically witnesses being live, but ultimately it doesn't matter. You don't win trials because one witness was in person, not on the Zoom. It's just nonsense. It's way more sophisticated than that, something simple like that.
Arash, you mentioned 99% of cases are referred by other attorneys, and you do it as a joint venture. And you also limit the cases you take to focus on quality over quantity. I manage an online directory called IranianLawyer.com, which is primarily focused on accident and personal injury lawyers. And I know there's so many of them around the world. How do other lawyers contact and reach you? I know you take on big and difficult cases, but how do you evaluate and filter through all the cases presented to you?
Well, we have a team of lawyers we say no to 99.9% of the referrals because it's got to be a case that we think we can make a difference on. So typically it's a 5 million or more value case to us, and it's got to be viable. There's got to be someone to recover it from. I got to believe in the case. Factually, we have to believe there has to be support for it. That doesn't mean it can't be a difficult case because I many times see a path to winning or justice that is not apparent in a first blush. Because I look at things completely differently than how most attorneys do, but we're very, very selective. So if someone wants to reach me, just, message me on Instagram, email me. It's arash@homampour.com. Include adina@homampour.com, my assistant, and we're here to help. So even though we reject 99.9% of the referrals, we help attorneys all the time with advice, case materials. If we're friends, I'll give you my cell phone number. I give you my cell phone number. If you need help with something, I'm here to help because I could usually answer legal questions like 30 seconds or less, give you a sample. I'm like a walking encyclopedia when it comes to legal issues. We have experienced so many weird, different procedural, substantive, factual issues in this, legal world that I hate to see people struggling and suffering or making wrong decisions because they're not getting the right information. So to the extent I can help people, I make myself available.
What led you to establish There's a Light Foundation, and what impact has it had?
Well, anyone who has abundance has an obligation to share. And so, aside from you get a tax write-off, it's the right thing to do. It's, a lot of religious cultures have tithing, 10% of your income. You need to give back. I mean, period. You simply cannot have this abundance that we do in personal injury and in our world and not help other people outside of the individual clients that you help. So I help in any way I can. And then I set up There's a Light to really give financial assistance to those that needed to get to the next level. Because as I talked about, there are so many talented musicians and humans and inventors of the thing that's going to change the universe that just don't have the financial wherewithal to do it. And $5,000 to $10,000 is a lot of money for a lot of people to accumulate independent that they can do something with and not have to pay all their living expenses with. And so I'm here to do that, help people. And we give money to individuals. We also give money to worthy causes because I just, that's the abundance is there to help. And I want to make the biggest impact and help as many people. So if I believe in you or I believe in your cause, we typically give you a large donation or grant.
You're all about empowering people, similar to Microsoft mission. I worked there for a couple of years, and their mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. What would you say your mission is in life, and what do you want to be remembered for?
Mine is to light as many candles as I possibly can, period. Light your candle. There's a light as many candles.
Tell us about the inner circle of trial lawyers, and what does it aim to do?
So Inner Circle is a select group of the best of the best of the best trial lawyers across the country. I was shocked that I was told that I was even being considered. Brian Panich is a good friend of mine. He's one of the best trial lawyers there ever is, ever was. And
Congratulations.
and he told me I was selected along with Raul and Ricardo Echeverria. And it's just an honor to be part of a group. I hope I say this accurately, their purpose is to share and to really take this talent and knowledge and really help each other and help the legal world elevate through civility and through sharing and really just, supercharge the abilities that we all have through shared knowledge. And so being part of that is such an honor, and it's just a reflection of what I'm up to, is helping as many people as I can, including my fellow trial lawyers.
Many congrats. When preparing for the interview, I heard you mention not letting your past success or failure dictate your future and who you'd be. Can you tell me more about it?
Sure. If I walk into a room, and I was telling this to someone, like, you meet a lot of people in California, they're all cocky and arrogant, and I'm this, I'm that. I said, like, if anyone could walk in a room and drop stats, I could, right? And if you meet me out, you're never going to hear any stats, any positive or negative commentary. Now, most people talk shit and negative, and they share shtick or negative comments with people as a form of a joke or, oh, I'm not taking myself too seriously. I don't believe in either. I think both approaches are wrong. Who you be is not dictated by your past failure or success. Who you be is dictated by who you be right now. If you are operating like I'm the shit because I won a lot of trials and a lot of money, or I have 4 Bentleys or whatever bullshit is your metric, or you walk in a room and you act like, I'm not anything because I'm an idiot, or you talk shit about yourself, no one's going to relate to you powerfully. But if you walk in a room and you're just love and you just be without consideration of your past, it's just, you just generate it. People connect, people relate, and people open up and can be vulnerable, and you can collaborate and connect in a way more powerfully than if you walk in a room with ego, negative or positive. So my approach to being is just be. I literally, if I win a big trial, I'm over it. I don't ever walk around going, I'm hot shit. Or if I lose, I rarely lose, but sometimes as human beings, we all lose. I don't walk around going, I'm a piece of shit. Either one. No hot shit, no piece of shit, no more shit. I literally just, who I am is who I be right now. Period.
Arash, what's your dream for our people in the Iranian community?
Well, I had a nightmare last night, with the war going on, or the almost war that's about to happen. It is just, my dream is that we have a Iran that is free, that is ruled by the people, that is not, pro-Israel or anti-Israel or pro-Jewish or anti-Jewish or pro-Muslim or anti-Muslim. Iran is a culture of many religions. It's one of the most beautiful, coolest, classiest hustle cultures, best food, arrogant in the most positive way. My mom, rest her soul, just her passion for everything Iranian. It would be a shame for Iran to go down as part of an unnecessary war and people getting the wrong impression of who Iranians are. My dream is that we all understand we are all one, whatever religion we are, whatever gender we are, whatever color we are all one. Forgive the trespasses that others have done upon you, and let's move forward and really do our best to not focus on our distinctions, but focus on what connects us. And it sounds very lofty, but one way or the other, that's what's going to happen.
Arash, what's your ask from our community?
Oh, just keep hustling, just keep doing the best job you can, represent our culture in the best possible way. Stop focusing so much on wealth and things. I know that we've all been, our parents were seduced by the West in Iran. Our grandparents were seduced by the West in Iran. Understand some of this religious hatred towards the West is because they see how corrupting capitalism can be. Capitalism is a beautiful thing in certain aspects, and it also can be very corrupting and anti-religious and antithetical to being a good human. And so just understand, it's not all about the money. It's not all about the things. It's about our culture and people and connection and food and dancing and music and love and carpets and tapestries and, language and just trees and cinema and that's some of the best cinema that comes from Iran. It's just, I have this love affair with this film director that I absolutely adore, Iranian film director, Asghar Farhadi. He did The Salesman, A Hero, A Separation. Literally illustrates why Iran is such an amazing culture and how, despite all the issues going on in this world, this beautiful cinematic, works of art, beautifully written, acted, and directed, come into the universe and just really inspire me. I adore that aspect of life, is that you can live in a world where Iran is kind of repressed and has the arts aren't maybe as artful as they should be, and yet you still have this beautiful body of work created through him. I would love that we just really focus on opening the doors to people understanding how much we have to offer and how similar we are, but have our own unique, beautiful perspectives on life.
We're going to start doing a this or that question just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. Trial or settlement?
Trial.
Tough judge or tough jury?
Tough judge.
Legal strategy or negotiation skills?
Legal strategy.
Civil case or criminal case?
Civil. I'm a civil lawyer, so yeah.
Client meeting or court appearance?
Client meeting.
Evidence or witness?
Evidence.
Research or arguing in court?
Arguing in court.
Morning court or afternoon court?
Morning court.
Long trial or a quick settlement?
Long trial. No quick settlement. Get out of here.
Defense or prosecution?
Prosecution.
One big case or multiple small cases?
One big case.
Adventure travel or relaxing on the beach?
Relaxing on the beach.
Text message or phone call?
Text message, unfortunately.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Work hard or play hard?
Work hard.
Spontaneous or planner?
Spontaneous.
Classic style or trendy fashion?
Classic style.
Concerts or sports events?
Concerts.
Invisibility or flying?
Invisibility.
Kebab or غرمه سبزی؟
Kebab.
اگه بخواین ایرانی‌ها رو تعریف کنین چی میگین؟ Who are Iranians and how would you describe them?
They are a regional set of human beings who have a unique food, a unique language, a unique perspective. They are very much like you and I. They love the earth. They love trees. They love family. They love tradition. They love the arts. They love good food. They love partying. They love socializing. They love simple things like kebab in a park with kids kicking a soccer ball, all the way up to skiing, to fine dining, to going to the coolest restaurants in Beverly Hills. They love all of it. That's definitely who they are. The spectrum of what Iranian people love is very broad, very culturally rich, very proud. That's who Iranians are. But they're just a region in the part of the world that is a part of the human race.
Thank you. Arash, the key takeaway today was that you're just making the world a better place with love and being simply an awesome, genuine, caring, and loving human being. And I want to thank you for that, for being so inspiring to me and all our dear listeners. Keep shining, and I hope to see you soon one day.
Thanks, dude. I will see you soon. Appreciate it.
Merci, Arash.
Thank you for listening to the Ultimate Iranian Podcast, where interviews ignite, uplift, and broadcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. For more information, please visit Iranianoftheday.com.